By California here in the Eastern Sierras. We're going to take you through 3 days of riding, plus more around Mammoth. Now, this area is perfect because of so many opportunities for riding, but also so many other great things to do, which is perfect if you're bringing a family, like me. My main resource for riding the area came from signing up for Mammoth Tough, and all the great tips from Amanda and Dave, because you just can't hop on your bike and go at this elevation. Coming from Los Angeles, it's almost a 5-hour drive, but you want to take your time with plenty of options along the Sierras, like Whitney Portal, Schatz Bakery in Bishop, and the sacred grounds of Manzanar. We stayed at the Westin, which is conveniently located across the street from the village at Mammoth. We started day one by heading for some family sightseeing nearby, and also because it was a little too cold for riding. People were telling me before that a lake was named after me. Haha. Convict Lake is located 15 minutes away from Mammoth. And while there's reason enough to bike here, you aren't allowed to ride around it. But me thinks this guy might be breaking the rules. It's a 2.5-mile hike around the lake. And catching the fall colors was a great way to start the day. I'm heading out for a short excursion out to the Inyo craters, which takes by some of the course Mammoth Tough. As you can tell, I haven't been at this elevation for more than 24 hours and 8,000 feet. I feel like I've already lost a lung. I headed north up Mammoth Scenic Loop with some climbing to start before gripping in for a few miles of downhill. I was a little blown back by what looked like options on both sides, but with little signage, it was hard to make references at these speeds. Seeing the 395 ahead of me relayed that I had missed my turnoff, and my reliance on Google Maps was not providing a 21st century payoff. My problem was attempting the first dirt Mammoth Tough segment in reverse, relying on intuition instead of downloading a map, causing a lot of indecision. My recon not so strong going the opposite way. There's a sign right behind me. That looks promising. It makes me feel like I should follow. But somehow I still have cell phone reception, so I think I'm just going to download the Ride with GPS app. Thank you, Google Maps. Shedding the stupidity karmically paid off. Following the online route was easy. While the grade going up wasn't hard, the sand was a tougher foe. With the number of side roads, unfortunately, I got so locked into the signs that I followed whatever came up. Right turn, I'll follow you. Looks weird. Yeah, should just listen to my gut instincts instead of following the signs. Actually, probably following the signs is what you should do in most cases, but not today. Push, push, push. Staying with the Mammoth Loop was a mistake. Nope. But referencing the app got me back on the main road soon. And before I knew it, I was back into town, to Mammoth Brewing, making day one complete. Sunday was our day to take in the sights. So we headed north towards Highway 120 and Yosemite. Tioga Pass was epic, and riding it someday, of course, crossed my mind. We didn't have a reservation for the park, but we made it up to Ellery and Tioga Lake. But there was more to see back down below, in quirky Lee Vining and the adjoining Mono Lake. We headed back, diverting onto the Highway 158 loop, stopping halfway around, taking the majesty of the fall colors. Driving through the town of June Lake, completed our loop, proving there's no shortage of water deposits all around. With the family in need of a nap, I sacrificed the rest to head up the 5.4-mile Lakes Basin bike path. This is an amazing piece of bike infrastructure, not just because of the engineering, but also access to this fairy tale setting. It's steep in spots. It would have been a beast towing my daughter on our Weehoo. Taking you by 5 lakes, this climb is definitely about the views. And also remember that you have to look back while heading up. There's some fun built into this path, but when you reach 9,000 feet of elevation, you can also get off of it and onto the road to explore more, like Lake Mary. So one thing about getting out, sometimes you don't get to pick and choose your times, they pick you. 7 o'clock and I have to head outside, and I know you're not supposed to take off your mask inside, but I'm wearing 2. It's 30 degrees outside. My route was essentially the Mammoth Tough Middle Distance course, subtracting out the dirt I had done on day 1. While normally I'd avoid Hoth-like conditions, I wanted to get as much riding in that morning. The first 7 miles echoed day's 1 ride, except having to worry about black ice somewhere along the way. Reaching the bottom, I made it safely across Highway 395, where my dirt adventure would begin. Off the bat, you realize there's a lot of other off-road options. The pace picked up in a really fun way, with the road trending downward and these alternating patches of pavement and sand giving a roller coaster feel. Owens River Road creeps up on you as you merge onto its pavement, where I didn't mind this frigid, rocketed descent into these views that you could only find in dreams. Crossing the cattle rail, the trees subtract from your surroundings, as it felt heavenly to have this scenery all to myself. The surface was never a big issue, and I enjoyed this much open space. But I did enjoy when details popped up, like the Arcularius Ranch, which sits on the Owens River. Normally I give my cow report in the 10s and 2s, but this guy's lost. He's trying to figure out how to get back in. Ugh. Ugh. Poor guy. Wow. What a G. The only vehicles in my presence happen to be semi-trucks, which seems so out of place, I was prepared that one might be Optimus Prime. The views were still open, but hints alluded that I was nearing a waterway. Crossing Hawk Creek with this morning light is a required stop. Feeling a bit jealous, these campers had a head start. This wasn't my last encounter with this current, as there's a moment upstream that's worth another break. Look, but don't touch, because the purity of these springs comes from the thermal energy nestled deep below, thanks to one of the planet's oldest calderas. With still some downhill left in the ride, I rolled past the fish hatchery, craving breakfast, but not trout, taking the gravel shortcut back into town, thanks to local knowledge from Dave and Amanda. It was a touch rocky and sandy in spots, but a much better alternative than getting onto the 395. If I can only figure out how to elegantly handle this obstacle. So I came across the fence and it was shut, just like they said it would probably be in the instructions. But I panicked seeing the chain across and I just jumped it. Of course, once I get over to this side, I noticed you just have to unlatch it. And there you are. Yeah, lesson learned. Heading back into town retraces some steps of the old highway, but instead of taking the direct route back, I followed the Mammoth Tough detour because gravel. Despite what the pipeline implies, Sawmill Road has been serving the area for over 100 years. But it's good to get some last feelings of isolation in, even if it means 1.5 miles of climbing. At the peak of the climb, you come upon amenities that look like Fantasyland from someone like me coming from Smogville. As I quietly exited the area, making my way up the highway, back into the heart of town. Mammoth has a lot of great gravel possibilities. A lot of side roads, they're out there to explore, but you have to do your research, especially if you can go out solo, like me. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe so we bring you more stories from the state of dirt. Keep this gravel rolling, keep this gravel rolling, ride. On Monday, get out, get a great ride in. It doesn't turn into Blair Witch.